what is the state of this race? The mainstream media networks are making it seem that Kamala Harris is on track for a blowout. I don't see that at all. In fact, I see the near opposite of that. What are you looking at? What are you analyzing?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to look at the polls that show that Kamala Harris has momentum. She does not if you use the samples from the 2020 election. And by the way, a lot of the mainstream polls were using the 2020 base voter to project Joe Biden. He was losing. So, but when Kamala Harris came in, all of a sudden they manipulated the samples. In some of these polls, Republican turnout, which was 37% for registered Republicans as a total, they're brought down to 27%, excuse me, a 10-point underrepresentation of Republicans. In some of these polls, the Democrats tip up above 38 to 39 or 40, overrepresenting Democrats, something they didn't do in the Biden poll. So what does that tell you? They knew that Kamala Harris wasn't in the lead, so you move the numbers and you move the advocacy around and you create the illusion she's doing better and she has momentum. She doesn't. The real poll shows she got no bunt from the Democratic National Convention. Not only that, she's starting to get scorn from some of the traditional media. The Washington Post clearly called her economic plan communist. You saw that op-ed. It's clear as day. The New York Times earlier this week didn't get enough attention. I think it's one of the most important things the New York Times op-ed page has written, saying, joy is not a substitute for substance. You didn't deliver any plan at the Democratic National Convention. Those are two warning signs. Then you take a look at Kamala Harris and her scared posture in the debate. She wanted to rewrite the debate rule so she could sit, have notes, interrupt Donald Trump, three things that weren't on the table in the debate. That tells you someone who's not confident in her debating skills. And then you take a look at the third thing, which is the three I's, which Donald Trump has religiously been focused on in the last couple of weeks: inflation, insecurity, the border and the world, and crime in our communities, and insanity, the insane things that Democrats are trying to advocate for. Donald Trump is hitting those day in and day out. J.D. Vance is hitting it day in and day out. The day one argument is really working with voters. Hey, this isn't day one, January 20th, 2024. Day one for Kamala Harris was January 20th, 2021. And oh, by the way, it's been crappy since then. Those arguments are working. And then the last element that actually shows that this race is in good shape for Donald Trump is what you're doing on the ground and what others are doing on the ground. Lee Zeldin and AFW. Early ground game Republicans are light years ahead of 2020 and 2022. And that's something the Democrats are not prepared to wake up on Election Day morning to encounter. The race is where it was before June 27th. Donald Trump is slightly ahead in the real polls, 1 or 2 points. It's very close. It's the day before the June 27th debate. And I predict that September 10th will be as consequential to the presidential election race as June 27th. Kamala Harris is not a strong debater. People are going to see a candidate who's very uncertain of herself.
Those three I's I want you to repeat. It reminds me of the 1972 election of amnesty, abortion, and acid when Richard Nixon ran up against.
Wow. Haven't heard those in a while.
Yeah, but those are the three A's. What are the three I's again?
Yeah, it's inflation, the economy, insecurity, which is immigration, crime, and an unstable world, and then insanity, all the things that Democrats are proposing that no American wants. We don't want tampons in boys' bathrooms. We don't want men in women's sports. We don't want no bail so that criminals keep coming out and committing more crimes every day after we arrest them. The insanity aspect of that. Those are the three things. Donald Trump has been religiously focused on that in the last couple of weeks, and you can see the effect in the polls.
Without a doubt. I'll play this piece of tape here. This is Mark Halperin, who gets some stuff right. He's been on our program. I think he's smart. He is kind of warning, hey guys, because he does this program called Two-Way where he talks to a bunch of Dems and Republicans, very, very in politicos. He's like, hey guys, just so you know, there is a chance, he's not predicting it, that Kamala Harris is at the same, if not worse place of Joe Biden right before the debate very, very soon. All that this pizzazz and this voodoo kind of just goes away. Play cut 106.
There's some public polling already. There's more coming. And there's some private polling that suggests that nationally in the battleground states, she's not ahead. She might be ahead on paper, but well within the margin of error. And there's some battleground states now where I think Donald Trump's on this trajectory is going to be ahead. And it may be, regardless of what happens in the interview and regardless what happens in the debate, it may be that by the middle of September, when things have calmed down, when the Trump campaign have had time to prey on some of the weaknesses that I suggested, that he's ahead in all the Sun Belt states and ahead in Pennsylvania and competitive in Michigan and Wisconsin, which would be roughly where Joe Biden was before the debate, with a single path to 270 electoral votes, the 3 Great Lakes states and Nebraska too. And that'd be a scary position for the Democratic Party to be in from mid-September through Election Day.
John, 30 seconds. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's very good analysis. Listen, I grew up with Ron Fournier, John King, and Mark Halpern as 3 really great political reporters. He's doing old-fashioned reporting. He's not buying the spin. He's looking at the numbers.
right.
He's right.